Hello students! We are now on the last part of our second quarter, which is week 8. And the scope of week 8 is all about the application of mirrors and lenses in optical instruments. But before we proceed on our week 8, let's just have a little recap about the week 7, which is all about qualitative characteristics of images formed by plane and curved mirrors and lenses. That tackles about the LOST or loss, L, which is all about between C and F, O represents inverted, S is to reduce, and letter T is for real image. So we have here two different pictures. The first one represents the mirrors, and the second one represents the lens or lenses. What are the difference between these two? When we talk about mirrors, it implies a glass surface with a silvery backing that produces image through reflection, which is, and obviously, we are using it daily. And also about the lens, we are also using it daily. Lens is a transparent substance of glass or plastic bound by two surfaces, who at least one surface is curved. And then the mirror, it can be plane or curved, while the lens, it is usually curved. And the mirror, the working principle is all about law of reflection, while the lens is all about law of refraction. We will elaborate it furthermore through the following slides that I'm going to discuss. We have two different pictures. The first picture represents a plane mirror wherein, as you can observe and see, the man raised his right hand and the reflected image on the plane mirror was a left hand image, which is actually a virtual image behind the mirror. So the reason behind this one is the principle that we have in physics, the left-right image reversal. So every time that we have a plane mirror or curved mirror, which is the left-right image reversal, explains in plane mirrors that if you're going to raise your left, the virtual image will give you the right hand image. It is because of the it could be the presence of the light, or that is what we call the incidence of the ray, wherein it will just diverge. So it will give you the image being reflected on the plane mirror. Next one, we have the lens. So as you are seeing here right now, we have B. When it comes to lens, we are also exposed here when cell phones. Right here, I'm wearing it, sunglasses, eyeglasses, microscope, telescopes. The purpose of lens is to magnify things, or it could also minimize the size of the images. If we are going to study mirrors and lenses, we are going to encounter these two words, which is reflection and refraction. So let us know the differences between these two words. So when it comes to reflection, it is the bouncing back of the ray of the light after striking a surface, while the refraction, it is the bending of the ray of the light from its normal path when it enters one medium from another medium. So on this given picture, as you can see, if you're going to try this one using a flashlight in front of a plane mirror, of course, the light will reflect. That is under the reflection, but if the source of light coming from the flashlight spread out or scattered, that is what we call refraction. It is because the refraction needs two mediums for it to produce an image, or to have the reflection of that particular object, to produce more. When it comes to reflection, it just need one medium. Next, differences of these two. Reflection, it is the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. So I will discuss it later. So when it comes to refraction, the angle of incidence is not equal to the angle of refraction. For reflection, the incident ray and the reflected ray are in the same medium, while in refraction, the incident ray and refracted ray are in the different mediums. The last one, when it comes to reflection, observe in case of mirrors. And refraction, is what I've told earlier, it is more on lenses. So the last picture, refraction and reflection. As you can see here, the reflection will have the equal angle, while the refraction, obviously, it will not have the equal incidence of the angle. To elaborate furthermore, I have here an image that represents reflection equal angles for the incident ray and reflected ray. When we talk about incident ray, it is a ray of light that strikes a surface. The angle between this ray and the perpendicular or normal to the surface is the angle of incidence. The reflected ray corresponding to a given incident ray is a ray that represents the light reflected by the surface. We have here two types of mirrors, the plane mirror and the curved mirror. So when it comes to plane mirror, we are using it daily, especially after taking a bath and before we go out, for us to fix ourselves. While the curved mirror, this is usually used inside the stores. For example, 7-Eleven, SM malls, Robinson malls, or even in highway, for the purpose of CCTV, to magnify the images far away from the curved mirror. So to explain furthermore what are the differences between these two, when we talk about plane mirror, the surface of the mirror is obviously flat. The images look just like those in the real world behind the mirrors, except that is the principle left-right image reversed. While the curved mirror, the surface of the mirror is obviously curved, it could produce a larger or smaller size of the object in front of that mirror and the main object, or I mean that surrounds the main object. It also can be called as converging mirror. Under curved mirrors, we have two types. These are convex and concave mirrors. So the first picture represents concave mirror, also known as converging mirror, because the parallel incident rays, or those lines that you are seeing there, converge or intersect at the eye, which is what we call the focal point. So that is the reason why when we have concave mirror, it will magnify the object in front of it. While the convex mirror, also known as diverging mirror, because the parallel incident rays or the lines that you are seeing there diverge after the reflection. When extending the reflected rays behind the mirror, the rays converge with the focus behind the mirror. So the convex needs to reflect and then to refract. So convex mirror usually can be seen inside the 7-Eleven stores, to elaborate furthermore the differences between convex and concave, when it comes to convex mirror, it implies the mirror whose reflecting surface is away from the center of curvature, and it can be seen inside the 7-Eleven stores or malls. While the concave mirror refers to the mirror whose reflecting surface is towards the center of curvature. So, it emphasizes that the object in front of it will be magnified, while the object that surrounds the main object will be upside down. It is because of the strike of the lights, and that is those are the rays of incidence. And those rays of incidence will diverge. That makes the objects that surrounds the main object upside down. After discussing the mirrors, we have here now the lenses. So, we are also exposed into lenses. We have the contact lenses. We already have our lenses inside our body, which is our eyes. The camera lens, telescope, microscope, and also our phones. So, when we talk about lenses, a ground or a molded piece of glass, plastic, or other transparent materials with opposite surfaces, either or both of which are curved by means of which light rays are reflected so that they converge or diverge to form an image. When it comes to lenses, it is more on the application of refraction. So under lenses, we have two basic types, which is the convex and also the concave. Converging lens or convex takes light rays and bring them to a point, which is the focal point, while the diverging lens or the concave takes light rays and focal point, the point at which rays or waves meet after reflection or refraction, or the point from which diverging rays or waves appear to proceed, and that is the time wherein the image being formed. While the focal length, the distance between the center of a lens or curved mirror and its focus. The image that you are seeing right now, this is what we call the ray diagram. To elaborate furthermore the importance of telescope, microscope, using a ray diagram, it is a representation of the possible path lights can take to get from one place to another. A sharp, real image. An image that can be displayed on a screen is formed when all rays from one point on an object arrive at a unique point on the image. So that is why we can see the objects that are far away from us. It is because of the presence of the technologies and also the presence of science that explains the purpose of those telescopes and microscopes. Before I continue to my discussions, I just want you to reflect on these quotations. According to Yoko Ono, look at yourself in the mirror and don't be afraid to notice how beautiful you are. Beautiful inside and outside. And we are not born to please everybody, but just make it sure that we are reflecting also to our characteristics and attitude towards the people that we are facing every day. And then the other quotation is, what matters most is how you see yourself. Next one, we have here the real image and virtual image. To explain it as I am using those words earlier. So the difference between these two is when we talk about real image, it is the image which is formed when the light rays meet at a particular point after reflection from the mirror. So the virtual image refers to the image which forms when the light rays appear to meet at at a definite point after reflection from the mirror. So the virtual image that we are seeing, those are behind the mirrors. So the real image that we are seeing after the reflection to the from the mirror. Virtual image, obviously from the word virtual, it is not real. Image which appears to be formed in a position somewhere behind the mirror. So the second picture, we have here a plain mirror. For example, we have a boy. The arrow represents the head. The arrowhead represents the head of the boy. So if you're facing in front of a plain mirror, the incident ray that reflects from the plane mirror, it just diverge. So that is the reason why it creates a virtual image of you. Last one here, the real image happens usually in a concave mirror because of the converging of the incident rays due to the presence of the lights. So that's all, students. Learning task 1. Study and analyze the names of the given devices inside the box. Classify the optical devices based on the basic principle that they obey in terms of image formation. So you're just going to identify those given objects if they will reflect or refract. For the instruction of learning task 2, identify the type of optical image, if it is real or virtual image, formed using the following optical instruments. So from numbers 1 to 10, kindly read it carefully and understand and analyze the situation, then analyze if it is under real or virtual image. For learning task 3, the instruction is draw a labeled ray diagram of a refracting telescope. Show the images formed by the two lenses. Lastly, learning task 4, the instruction is to read and answer the following question. Use an illustration to further support your answers for numbers 1 to 5. Here are the references that I've used. We have the Tibet Commons, and of course your modules, Google Scholar, and YouTube. Lastly, stay safe. Keep yourself and your family safe during this pandemic. Bye. Thank you for listening.